Where are you going? Hmm? What are you doing? Good girl. So I'm up on my camper this morning, giving it a good sweeping off before I put the cover on for the next couple of weeks before we use it again. And I always take a look at the sealant when I'm up here, because that's something that's not really covered under warranty unless you check it a lot. And this stuff does, you know, it degrades over time. It's just a rubber compound or whatever it is. And everything looks pretty good. But you start seeing little things, you know, kind of like this. It's not a big deal, but, you know, that's potentially a little opening. Yeah, this thing's a little dirty. I need to wash it, but nothing major. The rest of it's pretty good. You can see a couple of the little spots that I've just plugged back up with a little bit of Dicor in the past, here and there. As we go, we got a little separation there, but that's not really that big a deal. This is just a screw. You know, it's still doing pretty good. It's about 1.5 years old now, and you know, for the most part it's been outside all the time. I don't have covered storage. I do have a cover for it, but I don't have covered storage. But one of the things I noticed this morning is right here in the front cap. Yeah, if you can see this little section here where it's separated just a little bit, and that's, you know, a little bit up here too. I mean, it doesn't really wore me. A little bit up here. Again, it doesn't necessarily wore me all that much because these things move. You know, I don't think there's any, everything up here feels nice and solid. I don't believe there's any mechanical damage anywhere. Everything else is attached. There's no shakes, rattles, or rolls or nothing. But, you know, as you see, the sealant starts getting a little bit old and crusty. So what I'm going to do this morning before I put the cover on it, now that it's warming up a little bit, is I'm going to hit this with a, because it's a little wet right now because we had a lot of dew last night. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of a heat gun to dry that off, warm it up a little bit, and I'm going to gum this whole seam with some Dicor. Most likely I might as well do one end to the other, although down here it looks much better than it does starting at about the 50% mark. You can just see where it's just a little bit different. You know, not a big deal. There really isn't anything going on in the front. It's just this little piece in the back that's separated a little bit. So I'm going to set up my heat gun, and then that's what we're going to do. So I'm not really trying to heat anything up substantially. I just want to dry it off a little bit. And I'm probably going to go get a little bit of cleaner. Clean it as good as possible. Get some of the heavier goo off of it. We'll see how she does. Yeah, it's pretty good and dry. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go get something to clean that a little bit with, and then we're going to fill it. All right, so I just cleaned it off a little bit with just some water on a cloth. And now I'm going to take a ballpoint pen, just nothing sharp, and see if I can just kind of open up these cracks a little bit, just so I can make sure I can get some really solid material in there when I go back to refill it. I'm just pulling it back a little bit, and yeah, the reason I'm not too worried about this is I don't believe we have water inside, because the majority of the time I've noticed when they put these things together, the top coat isn't all of it. They actually put down a bottom coat, lay the thing that they're putting down on it, screw it down, and then go over the top. It's kind of a belt and suspenders approach, but it's for just this reason, because this stuff wears, you know. This is you're towing a house down the road in an earthquake for hours at a time, and trying to make sure that everything stays together. There we go. Takes a little bit of work. Now, this type of stuff, I don't consider this warranty issue at all, and I consider this routine maintenance personally. So there we go. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to take out my, my Dicor self-leveling lap sealant. It's white, it's not brown. Open it up, and we're going to start just packing it as best I can into the area that has the breach. Now, I'm not going easy on it. This stuff's fairly cheap. Certainly cheaper than water damage. All right. Now we're gonna come along behind that. Just run a bead over the top of it. In the bottom. All right. Okay. And now that's a lot, but again, I go kind of heavy on this stuff because it's cheap, and it'll help keep the value of this camper up to where I don't have to worry about it. So now we're gonna just let that stuff spread out, dry for a little bit, and that'll be it. So while I was up here gallivanting around, I found another little section that just, and that's nothing wrong, but it just looks a little odd. See this little fold right here? It's not a cut. Oh, look at that. It's actually the edge of the Dicor that they put on it. It just looked kind of funny. So I'm just giving it a check. Turns out that's nothing. I was gonna patch it if that was like a little fold in the roof, but it's not. It turns out that's just the edge of the Dicor that they had put on it. Everything back here still looks nice and solid. So it's some of the things that I look for while I'm working on this kind of stuff, just to make sure that, you know, here's another example of that same type of thing. You got this little edge right here, but that's just from where they put the Dicor or the sealant on it when they put the roof on. Nothing really to worry about there. So, all right, well, that's what I've done today. Hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want, please subscribe to my channel. I put stuff up like this as I come up with it. We got a really good, interesting series that we started with called The Weight Police, talking about differences between smaller and larger vehicles as far as how you're towing with them and what you can expect. So, hope you all have a good day. Take care.